Sometimes you'll be working through an equation, you'll be solving an equation, and you're doing all the steps correctly, and the variable seems to magically disappear. Well, if that happens, don't panic. It means there is one of two situations taking place. If the variable disappears and you're left with a statement that is always true, for example, 3 equals 3, or 10 equals 10, or -8 equals -8, those statements are always true. If the variable disappears, it's no longer there, and you're left with a statement that is always true, then there are infinite solutions. And what that means is you could basically put any value in for x or for the variable that you're solving for, and it would make a true statement. So x, or the variable you're solving for, could basically be anything. The other situation it could be, the second situation, is that if you end up with a statement that's never true. So you're working through the equation again, doing all the steps correctly, and the variable disappears, you're left with a statement that is never true. For example, 2 equals 8, or 5 equals 6, or -3 equals 12. Those statements are never true. That means there is no solution. There is no value that you can put in for the variable or for x or whatever you're solving for and have it make a true statement. So if you get a statement that is never true, such as 2 equals 8, 5 equals 6, something like that, that means there is no solution. The equation is never going to be true for any value of the variable. So for this, it says, is the equation always, sometimes, or never true? And as you can probably guess, based on what we talked about up here, the variable is going to disappear. We're going to solve this the same way we would any other equation. On the left side, we're going to combine the like terms, 11 and -7, that makes 4. And on the right side, 6x and -3x, that makes 3x. So on the left, 3x plus 4. On the right is 3x plus 5. Now just by looking at that, 3x plus 4 equals 3x plus 5, you can probably guess that's never going to be true. No matter what value you put in for x, that's never going to be a true statement, because 3x plus 4 cannot equal 3x plus 5. Let's say we didn't pick that up, and let's, for example, say you go to subtract 3x from each side. If you did subtract 3x from each side, you would end up with 4 equals 5. That's a false statement. 4 is never going to equal 5. Since that's a false statement, or it's never true, that means there's going to be no solution. But to answer this question, is the equation always, sometimes, or never true? That's never going to be true. And what that really means is that there is no solution. There is no value for x that you can put in to make this a true statement. Next one. We have 6x plus 5 minus 2x equals 4 plus 4x plus 1. As you can probably guess, again, the variable is going to disappear based on what we're working on up here. So you go to combine the like terms. On the left side, you have 6x and -2x. If you combine those, that would be 4x. On the right side, combine 4 and 1, that is 5. So now we have 4x plus 5 equals 4x plus 5. Now if you stop and look and think about that, that's always going to be true. No matter what value you put in for x, 4x plus 5 is going to equal 4x plus 5. It's going to equal itself. But let's say you didn't notice that, you're in a hurry or something like that, and you go to subtract 4x from each side. The variable disappears, which is what we're talking about up here. The variable disappeared, and we're left with a true statement, a statement that is always true, 5 equals 5. If the statement is always true, that means there will be infinite solutions. So this particular equation is, to answer this question, is always going to be true. So it's always true, and what that really means is there are infinite solutions. You could put any value in for x, and it's going to make a true statement, because really both sides are equal to each other. No matter where you look at it, as you're working through this, both sides are equal to each other. So you could put anything in for x. It's always true, meaning there are infinite solutions. This is a very common type of question that you would find on an ACT or an SAT test. It talks about consecutive integers. 3 consecutive integers have a sum of 168. What is the value of the largest integer? Well, the first thing you need to know is, what does it mean by consecutive? Consecutive means in a row. So consecutive integers, an example would be 5, 6, 7, or 20, 21, 22. Those are examples of 3 consecutive integers. When a team wins consecutive championships, they win them years in a row. So consecutive means in a row. And when people face this question, three consecutive integers have a sum of 168, and you need to find those three consecutive integers, the first thing they want to do is grab their calculator. And you may have already done that right now. You may be grabbing your calculator and playing around with three different numbers while I'm talking to get three that add up to 168. Well, and you may already have it right now, but that all depends on the size of the number you're dealing with. 168 is pretty easy to do with the calculator, but let's say you had something like 9,472. It may take you a little longer with your calculator playing around with three numbers that add up to get that. You're actually a lot faster using what you should be using, and that is the algebra. So consecutive integers are in a row, increasing by 1 each time. We're going to let the first consecutive integer be x, or z, or y, or whatever variable you want to use. But if that's the first one, remember they increase by 1 each time, so the second consecutive integer would be x plus 1. They're increasing by 1 each time. And the third consecutive integer would be x plus 2. Now, a lot of times the ACT or the SAT will throw at you consecutive even integers or consecutive odd integers. In both of those cases, the first one would be x, the second one would be x plus 2, and the third one would be x plus 4. Now you might be thinking, how can consecutive odd integers be x, x plus 2, and x plus 4? It's because they increase by 2 each time. Whether they're even or odd integers, they're both types are increasing by 2 each time. Think about it. 2, 4, 6 increase by 2 each time. 1, 3, 5 increase by 2 each time. So if they were consecutive even or consecutive odd integers, it would be x, x plus 2, and x plus 4. But in this case, it's just consecutive integers. We're increasing by 1 each time. So we're going x, x plus 1, and x plus 2 for our three consecutive integers. Now the sum of those three is 168. So add those up, x plus x plus 1 plus x plus 2, that's equal to 168. We have now a simple equation we could solve for x. On the left side, combine the like terms. If you combine those x's, you get 3x. Combine 1 and 2, you get 3. And on the right side, still 168. Subtract 3 from each side. If you do that, get 3x equals 165. And then divide each side by 3, get x equals 55. That's not the answer. I can guarantee you, if you're taking an ACT test, they're multiple choice answers, that's going to be one of the answers. I can also guarantee you 56 is going to be another answer. Neither one of those are the right answer. It's not 55, it's not 56. The correct answer to this question is 57. It's looking for the largest integer. If x is 55, the largest integer would be x plus 2. It's 55 plus 2, and that is 57. So 57 is the largest integer. I'm going to set up an equation to solve this question relating to phone bills. Everybody's familiar with phone bills. Your long-distance service provider charges you 6 cents per minute plus a monthly access fee of $4.95. For referring a friend, you receive a $10 service credit this month. If your long-distance bill is $7.85, how many long-distance minutes did you use? Whenever you need to set up an equation to solve one of these story problems or word problems, what you want to let the variable represent is what's being asked. It says how many long-distance minutes did you use? That's what your variable will represent. How many minutes you used. And you can use x or y or z or in this case m if you want to represent that as the number of minutes. Now I need to set up an equation. And to set up the equation, go back and read it again. Knowing now that x is the number of minutes, read this again. Service provider charges you 6 cents per minute plus a monthly fee of $4.95. So your bill is going to consist of 6 cents per minute plus that monthly fee of $4.95, and also you receive a $10 service credit. That means they're paying you back $10 for referring a friend. And then your total bill is $7.85. So 6 cents per minute means you're going to multiply the number of minutes, which is x, by 0.06. That's 6 cents per minute. Plus that $4.95 monthly access fee. They're going to charge you $4.95 whether you talk on the phone or not. It's $4.95 monthly access fee every month, no matter how many minutes you use or don't use. And in this case, you receive a $10 service credit for referring a friend. So we're going to subtract that $10 from these two expenses. The 6 cents per minute and the $4.95, those are expenses. Subtract the $10 from that and your bill is $7.85. The question is, how many minutes did you use? So we're going to solve this equation for x. X is the number of minutes we used. We're going to solve this equation for x. Everybody can do it from here. On the left side, combine 495 and minus 10. So 4.95 minus 10, that would be negative 5.05. Then add 5.05 to each side. If you do that, you get 0.06x equals 12.9. And then finally, divide each side by 0.06. X equals 215. And remember, we let x equal the number of minutes used. X is 215. That means you used 215 minutes. Don't talk so much. This says a 10-foot tall basketball rim is 4 feet shorter than twice the height of the flagpole. What is the height in feet of the flagpole? Now, you might be able to figure this out with a little common sense and maybe a calculator if needed. But you can also figure this out by using an equation. Remember, when you're setting up an equation to solve a word problem like this, let x, or the variable, represent what is being asked. What is the height in feet of the flagpole? That's what we're going to let x equal. X equals the height of the flagpole. Then go back and read it again. A 10-foot tall basketball rim is 4 feet shorter than twice the height of the flagpole. Well, this is your height of the flagpole, x. Twice the height of the flagpole would be 2x, and 4 feet shorter than that would be 2x minus 4. So this 10-foot tall rim is 4 feet shorter than twice the height of the flagpole. Twice the height of the flagpole is 2x. 4 shorter than that is minus 4. That's the height of the rim. And you're already told that the height of the rim is 10 feet. Apparently nobody is dunking on this rim. 2x minus 4 equals 10. So the height of the rim is 2x minus 4 here. And that's what it says up here, is the height of the rim is 10 feet tall. So 2x minus 4 equals 10 is our equation. And then to solve that for x, add 4, divide by 2, x equals 7. Remember, x is the height of the flagpole. That is 7 feet tall.